Hi everyone, welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union energy update. We already have cards on the table. The reason why is because I was preparing to do a written channeling on my community tab, on Instagram and Facebook. I cross post, so make sure that you're subscribed everywhere. I was preparing to do a written channeling and these cards came out. And I knew immediately when these cards came out that there was something deeper. And interestingly enough, as I was channeling, I was actually channeling for the new moon in Aries / eclipse that's coming up this week. I think it's tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, something like that. We're in that energy right now. So you might be feeling the effects of that right now. We're going to be doing a channeling on that energy specifically on my YouTube channel as a soul path reading. So make sure that you're checking that out. But this reading is specifically for sacred partnerships, for sacred union, divine masculine, divine feminine. However that resonates for you. It could resonate for your inner masculine and feminine energies. It could resonate for a partnership to help you understand what each energy is going through, or it could resonate for the global collective, because the global collective, this planet, is going through an ascension itself, and we all hold that masculine and feminine energy within us, and that masculine and feminine energy has played out on the planet as a collective energy as well. You can see that with regards to just everything that we've experienced, especially when it comes to masculinity and femininity, and how the energy is really shifting and changing. So we'll explore that specifically going forward, they're saying, because there is more that they want to say about the global ascension and masculine and feminine energy as part of the global ascension. But we do have a number of sacred channelings on my sister channel, Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, about sacred union, masculine and feminine energy from a global perspective. So you can check those out in the meantime. But they are telling me right now, which is new to me, I'm going to write that down, that we are going to be looking more into the global energies as well. But from the macro to the micro. So what affects one affects the whole. And so for those of you in sacred union, sacred partnership energy, who were catalyzed to your ascension through a partner and experiencing the sacred partnership, it is affecting the global collective as well. Because what you experience within yourself helps to heal and ripple out to affect the collective. We've been channeling that from the very beginning. So it's interesting. This energy that came out, I was going to do a written channeling, and then I ended up channeling for the eclipse energy. So you can check that out. Again, on the Soul Path reading, we'll dive more into that. And I knew that I wanted to do an additional reading on this, to go deeper in this energy, because this energy is really interesting to me. We have the Hermit that came out, we have the Eight of Wands, and we have the Two of Cups. This is very much indicating the union, and what I'm getting is you're both seeing each other. You're both maybe even facing each other. And when I say facing each other, I mean there might actually be communication where you are in contact with one another, where you are having those conversations, the necessary conversations. A number of you have reached out to me to mention that you are in communication, that you have had reunions and meetups and have had the conversations. For the Divine Feminines, there is an energy of questioning and doubt. Especially as you are in communication with your masculine partner who is coming in and saying the words, and you are wondering, is it real this time? Is it true? Is this really happening? Is there change and transformation? And to that I say, trust in the energy. Trust in the energy, and actions have to align with the words. The words are great, and the words are amazing. As somebody whose love language is words are amazing, but the actions have to align with that. It's not enough to talk the talk, and have that conscious understanding, but you have to walk the walk, and it's about embodying. So trust the energy, and also allow yourself to go slow. Allow yourself to take your time with this energy. It's almost like you're getting to know each other again, because you are two different people. Whether you have been in communication this whole time and partnership this whole time, or you were in some kind of perceived separation. We say perceived because separation is an illusion. We're always connected. Whatever the energy is, understand that, or whatever the situation is, understand that in essence, you've gone through a major transformation where you are different, and you can feel that you're different. You know that you're different. And so that requires a difference in your life. It requires people to show up differently for you because you're not going back to the same energy. You're not repeating the same patterns. You're not accepting the same behaviors. You're not accepting the same energy because you're in a different energy. And as your partner's going through a transformation, allow them to be different too. So you get to know each other again. Now, if the energy or the behavior or whatever feels like it's the same, if it doesn't feel like there's any shift, it doesn't feel like there's any transformation, then that's when you can tune into your heart and make the decision for yourself. What is it that you want for your path? What is it that you want for your life? Because even though we're doing this with sacred partners, even though we're doing this with somebody, in connection with somebody, don't let the connection hold you to something. That's when you get to make a decision for your life, because you are, even if you are sacred partners, you are, even if you, as sacred partners, you might even be that twin flame, that same soul, but you're also individual people. You're expressing the soul of yourself as individual partners, as individual people. And so that's where it kind of gets confusing sometimes, because we look at it from the 3D perspective. We look at it from, wait a minute, this is supposed to be my counterpart, this is supposed to be my twin. We hold on to that label, we attach to that label, and we see something very different. And so that keeps us kind of trapped in a loop. So allow yourself to say, what is it that I want for my life? What is it that I want for my path? What is really honoring of myself? That's where you're in a different energy, because you're not abandoning yourself anymore. You're not betraying yourself anymore, your needs, your wants, your desires. You're not holding yourself back anymore. You're not silencing yourself anymore. That's where you get to make choices for yourself. And so what we've been experiencing is a number of different pathways opening up. For some, it is the person has been doing their work and transforming and growing along with you, and that's where you get to know each other again. For others, that person just isn't ready, or just is following their own path or their own journey that might not be aligned with you right now. And so that's where you are opening up to different connections or soulmates, or even just learning. We're going to be doing a soulmate reading on the Patreon coming up, because that is a path that's opening up for many of you. And soulmates can be platonic and they can be romantic. There are a number of you who have reached out. I'm experiencing something similar. There are a number of you who have reached out and shared that you're experiencing over the past couple of months those soulmate connections coming through, those new counterpart connections coming through. And for some of you, it is a person who is that absolute match, matching that frequency, matching that energy, where the original person might have been a catalyst for you, but might not have been that true counterpart. I don't like to use that phrase, but that's the best way I know how to articulate it. For others, you're meeting high vibrational soulmates. For others, still you're meeting platonic connections that are helping you to understand yourself more and helping you to heal more in the energy of love versus the energy of triggers and that dense energy. So everybody's on a very different path. Different paths are opening up. So we are going to be channeling some more about that soulmate energy in conjunction with sacred unions. And to that end, I also want to say, it doesn't mean that just because these new pathways are opening up, it doesn't mean that some other part is done and over with. Life is about flow. Life is about constant unfolding. And that's where we get the energy of plot twist. I've had this phrase plot twist in my mind. It's been coming through for the past 2 weeks. And I've been experiencing plot twists in my own life that has been showing up in beautiful ways, magical ways, healing ways. Whether it was a trip, whether it was seeing my best friends, whether it was connecting with friends I haven't seen in a while, whether it is new connections coming through, it's like plot twists. And that's the magic of your journey. And the more that you allow it to unfold, the more you just follow that path. You just trust your intuition and trust your heart and are in alignment with your soul. The more that you're doing that, the more the journey just unfolds in magical ways. And it's because we're releasing the attachment and the expectations to the outcome. We're not so fixed on a destination, but we're enjoying the journey. That's when the magic comes in. And remember, too, who you're trusting. You're trusting in God. You're trusting the universe, at one with yourself. Where are you not trusting in yourself? Where are you not trusting in God? Where are you not trusting the universe? Where are you still trying to control your path? Where are you still trying to control how this all navigates? That's where you come back to your soul. That's where you come back to your intuition. That's where you come back to your faith and your inner knowing. It's about allowing it to unfold, allowing your journey to expand in beautiful ways. Because again, plot twist, there are beautiful, expansive energies that are coming through that are helping you navigate to your desires. Your desires are not forgotten. Your desires are not abandoned. What it is that you want is coming to fruition. It just might not be in the linear way that your egoic mind might have fixed on in the past. And that's what this journey really teaches us. It teaches us to trust, heal our inner energies, come into union with ourselves. And in that union with ourselves, we learn how to trust. We learn how to trust ourselves in connection with God's source. And God's source will never, ever, ever abandon us. They're just reminding me of the Healing and Harmony channeling that's available on Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections on my YouTube. Make sure that you're checking out the Healing and Harmony series if you want to continue to expand and grow, to support you in your expansion and your growth. And that free reading, the separation activation, is really helpful to remind you of the basics of what it is that you're learning on this ascension journey and what this ascension journey is for and what this sacred union is all about. It's about bridging and releasing that illusion of separation and bridging your spiritual journey with your human experience and coming back into union with yourself, which naturally aligns you to union with a counterpart, with a relationship. So there's a number of different pathways that are opening up here. But I feel, coming back to this energy, I feel like divine counterparts are facing each other because they're facing themselves, holding themselves responsible, holding themselves accountable for their choices, for their actions, and not denying yourself, your inner masculine and inner feminine, doing that healing work, and not denying your counterpart. There's a new honoring of the counterpart that has been coming through here. And again, it's going to resonate with everybody in a different way, in a different scenario, because everybody's path is opening up differently. It'll show itself differently is what I want to say. So it'll resonate differently in your own experience. But that's what's happening energetically. We've been channeling that for the past several months. And even getting as far back as a year. We've been channeling that journey's end, but as one journey comes to a close, a new one opens up. And we've been channeling this. What they had shown me was 2 concentric circles. So I'll just repeat it again. Let me get a marker. In the Twin Flame Truths channeling, they showed it to me like this. Well, we'll do it like this. It's almost like the infinity symbol. Like this, but they showed it to me like this. It's the, I can't remember the name of this. The Pisces, the Vesica Pisces. I think that's how you say it. I forget. But it's that this is a place where the bridge is, right? This is where if you have 2 opposites, this is the bridge of the opposites. And we've been channeling union of opposites for quite a long time now. I have all those channelings over on Susan Dawn Ascension Connections as well, if you're new to the channel here, to understand these teachings. So this was your first part of your ascension journey. You can call this your twin flame journey, where your twin flame kind of came in to activate you by clearing out all of that, what I like to call soul sludge, that dense energy, the patterns, the programming, the conditioning, the beliefs that you once held. And those beliefs come from your upbringing, maybe even carried in from past lifetimes. Those beliefs come from conditioning. Those beliefs come from generations that are passed down. They're beliefs. And there's nothing wrong with those beliefs up until this point, because they might have served you in your life experience up until this point. But now that you're going through your awakening and your ascension journey, you're remembering the truth of your soul. You're coming back to the truth of your heart, your sacredness, your divinity. And those beliefs no longer hold sway. So don't be hard on yourself. That's a really important message that's been coming through for a lot of these channelings. Don't be hard on yourself for your choices, your beliefs, for the life that you've lived, the energy that you were in up until this point, because you don't know what you don't know. That was your level of consciousness. That was your level of awareness. Now that you're at this present point where you have a higher awareness, Now you take that higher awareness and make different choices. Now you take that higher level of awareness and allow yourself to change, allow yourself to transform, allow yourself to grow and expand and evolve. It's all based on this present point. So don't be hard on yourself for the past, for that past version of yourself. You didn't know what you didn't know. But now that you are aware, that awareness is your point of power, and you use that to empower yourself into higher levels of your life experience, into higher levels of consciousness, into higher energy, higher frequency. So this was all that clearing out that soul sludge. This was all that clearing out that dense energy, that heavy energy, to get you to this point of awareness here. This is the bridge. This was the journey's end and the journey's beginning. This is where we are. We were in this transition period for quite a while. Now, especially with this eclipse energy, I've been getting the past 6 months. So I feel like from the start of, I'm actually getting Lionsgate energy, so it might even go back a little bit further. Lionsgate energy was really, the 8/8 portal, August 8th, that portal was really important to amplify our ascension journey in many different ways, to really kickstart. I mean, you've been going through your ascension cycle, but to really push you into new timelines, into higher timelines, into expansion, into accelerated ascension. So for the past 6 months or so, what's been happening is new timelines haven't been opening up because you've been shifting consciousness, because you've been expanding your awareness, because you've been expanding in your consciousness, because you've been shifting your patterns, consciously, mindfully shifting your patterns, saying, oh, this is the way I used to do it. That's not in alignment with me. That doesn't feel intuitively good. Your emotions, remember, your intuition, your emotions are your barometer. It's your navigation system. If something feels really constrictive, if something feels really restrictive, if something feels off, it is off. Trust that. If something feels expansive, if something feels good, peaceful, harmonious, follow the path of peace. Follow that peace. And trust your intuition before your ego mind takes over. So if it feels peaceful and good, follow that before your ego mind starts playing, oh, but what if this happens? What if that happens? Before you start overanalyzing and overthinking. Keep tuning into your intuition. And the more that you do that, the more you'll begin to be able to discern, and you'll be able to be really aware of, oh, that's just my ego. That's just my old patterns trying to protect me. That's just my defense mechanism, my survival mode. That's just me overanalyzing. That's just my fear. So being really aware of yourself and your emotions is helping you to discern between your intuition and your soul's alignment and patterns of the past, which is ego, essentially. And ego is good because it's useful, because it helps us to be aware, but your higher consciousness, through that awareness, helps you to say, okay, that pattern isn't serving me now, so I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to follow my intuition. Again, ego is not the enemy. Ego is not a bad thing necessarily. Ego has been here to help us, to protect us, defend us in our survival as humans. But we integrate the ego. We integrate it so that we're able to discern. We're able to be aware of it. So this energy was the past, clearing out, and that's where it felt really tough. That's where the journey felt really difficult and even really painful, because you were looking at yourself. You were looking in the deepest depths of yourself. You were looking at the mirror and facing yourself, holding yourself accountable, holding yourself responsible for the past, allowing yourself to change your beliefs, allowing yourself to move through cycles of grief, cycles of letting go, cycles of release of the old version of yourself. This could be even people, places, things. This could be memories. This could be trauma cycles that you were releasing. You were allowing yourself to heal. This was your healing journey. This was a transition. Now we're in what we call the higher heart ascension. I have that in the sacred channelings on Susan Dawn Ascension as well. This is like phase 2, if you want to call it phase 1 and phase 2. This is the higher heart ascension. This is the energy of love, because you've remembered that love is who you are. You've remembered that's your point of consciousness. That's your point of awareness. That's your reference point. That's your point of power. And so through this higher consciousness now, through following the love and following the peace, remembering that love is who you are, through your compassion and your empathy, with those healthy boundaries, because you're loving yourself. Remember, this is loving yourself. And through loving yourself, you're able to more deeply love other people. You're able to recognize other people, the soul of other people, and recognize that everybody is playing a part in your journey. And that's where you have compassion for them. That's where you have gratitude for them. That's where you have forgiveness. And sometimes it's more easy than others to hold that space of forgiveness and compassion and gratitude and empathy. You know, you're still human, so don't berate yourself for being human. You're still human, but it's a process. Allow yourself to process those feelings, and you return back to that place of peace. This level that you're at, and if you're still here, don't negate yourself. You know, everybody's on a different place, and we channel as a guide. You know, we channel this journey to help guide you to where you're headed and what's to come. So you're at this level because this is the new consciousness that you're operating at. You're operating from a higher heart place of peace, where no matter what is challenging you, no matter what you're experiencing in your 3D world, you come back to that peace. I had an experience a couple of months ago where I was just kind of like rocked. My world was just kind of rocked. It was a very difficult, challenging experience where I doubted myself, where I doubted my journey, where I doubted, what is this all for? What is the purpose of this? I had a real crisis of faith because of what I was experiencing in my physical world. But I kept coming back to this place of peace within myself. And I kept saying, you know what? This is going to pass. I'm going to be okay. Even though this is a really challenging time within my physical experience, I have faith in God. I have faith in myself. I have faith in the overcoming. I have faith in my own strength. And even if it felt like my fire was going out, I mean, I was facing challenge after challenge after challenge. It was challenging in my relationships. It was challenging in my journey. It was challenging in my physical health. I mean, I was hitting a low point. But I kept coming back to that peace. And that peace was my guiding light. That new level. It's like you can't, once you reach a level of consciousness, once you allow yourself to shift, it's like you can't go below that frequency anymore. It won't let you. It's like you hit here. This might have been where you were operating from before, but now this is your level. This is your lowest level. And so no matter how low I felt, I still felt that strength. I still felt that faith. I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up on my journey. I didn't give up on God. I didn't give up on, whatever. I still felt that sense of peace that no matter what it was that was kind of stirring up all these emotions inside of me, I still felt that peace that I was going to be okay. That's this here. That's consciousness. That's a consciousness shift. And you might experience this in bits and pieces along your journey. And the further along in your journey you get, the more you anchor in. That's embodiment. So you begin to integrate it. You begin to anchor it in. You begin to really embody this. This is your phase of embodiment. So this was kind of like the shitty part. And this is like the, okay, okay, I get what this is for. I see my own transformation. I can feel the difference in my energy now. And it's kind of remarkable. So when you're facing each other now, as you're coming back into these reunion cycles, you're not in this energy anymore. If you've done the work, if you've both done the work, it requires both of you to do your own inner healing work, to both be able to face the mirror so that you can face each other. Because you are each other's divine mirror, right? That's what it's about. Doing the inner work, crucial. So that when you come into reunion here, when you're in relationship with each other, when you're in connection with each other, conversations, communication, meetups, whatever this is, it's in a different energy. That's where you're getting to know each other in a different light. I used to say that it almost felt like one of my regrets was time. I had a big wound around time when it came to my counterpart, the person that has been my catalyst, I should say, because we've known each other for a very, very long time, since elementary school. And when we got back in touch, it was like 20 years since we had talked. And when we were activated to the Ascension journey together, I felt this wound of time. Like, oh my gosh, it's like so much time had passed. What if we had known each other throughout high school? He saw me in high school. I don't remember interacting or seeing him in high school. Or in the 15 years, 20 years since. Until our Ascension journey, until we got back in touch and started just communicating as old classmates and friends. And then we were activated to Ascension and began this whole crazy wild ride. So I had this wound around time, and it was like, what if we had met earlier? Would our journeys have been different? And the answer is yes, it would have been different, but you wouldn't have had the experiences that you had. And yes, some of those experiences might have been difficult. For me, it was an experience of Lyme disease. It was an experience of a lot of loss in my life. Maybe my experience would have been different if my counterpart had been part of my life then. But I also wouldn't have learned. I also wouldn't have grown as I had. And also, I see how I had to love myself more. I had to go through my journey almost like on my own, perceived on my own, quote unquote on my own. I had to go through my journey on my own to get to that point where I was able to be activated to Ascension with him. We were able to activate each other. Because I remember there was one time in 2016 where we met for coffee, and I could feel, this was before I had a word for, the Ascension journey gifted me with new language. It was before I had a word for what it was I was experiencing, but I could feel the vibration, like my body was vibrating. And it felt like it wasn't the right time, like the frequency fell off. It wasn't the right time. I had to go through a journey of self-love. And that year, 2017, was very difficult for me. I was dealing with stuff with my grandmother, who was very sick. We were selling her house. I had experienced a relapse. I was healing from a relapse from illness. 2017 was very, very difficult. But I was also going through a journey of self-discovery and self-love. And I always, I've shared this with you guys before. I had a trip to New York where it was my first time where I was able to be independent after illness, where I was able to travel, where I was able to really, feel the magic of life again and connect with myself and connect with God again. That journey was that trip for me was a very spiritual experience. And after that trip, a month after, my counterpart reached out to me and invited me for coffee. And we met for coffee again, and everything felt sacred. I turned around, and it was like the connection, the familiarity, the love, the sacredness. Again, I didn't have the words for everything until this journey. Until looking back and reflecting on that experience. But I knew in that moment that something big was happening. I remember up until that point I was singing The Little Mermaid. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. I kept singing that for months up until that meeting. And that's exactly what happened. It's like something was starting, and I knew it. I could feel it in my gut. I could feel it in my bones. I could feel it in the cells, in my very fiber of my being. And that's what activated this Ascension journey. Like we were activated to each other. And then we had maybe 2 or 3 weeks of joy and happiness and harmony, and then our triggers. Then that cycle began. Then the healing began. And I'm at the point in my own journey where I don't know where I'm being led and who I'm being led with. But I do know that part of the journey has come to a close. And I've reached a part in my own ascension where it just feels like harmony within myself, and it feels like healing within myself, and it feels like peace within myself, that inner union. And so you can feel this. You can feel the difference. You can feel your own transformation. And I feel like these counterparts, you're coming together and activating each other in a higher level of ascension. But it requires getting to know each other again. I can look back and I can have deep regret because I could say, I wish that I had, gone through this journey and met you at this point now. I wish that I could have met him now. Because maybe it would have been different. Maybe it would have been more peaceful. But I know what we went through together. And I know that we supported each other and loved each other through very difficult times on this journey. And that, in essence, there was a divine purpose. You can see the bigger picture. That's an expanded consciousness where you're able to see the bigger picture. You're able to see how the pieces all play a part in your expansion and in your growth. And not just yours, but your partner's. Both of you. Like, it's not just your journey, it's both of your journeys. But you have to allow for it to be your journey as well. You have to allow yourself to say, okay, I can see how this journey brought me here to this transformation, to loving myself, to honoring myself, to building better connections with others, to building better connections within my life, within my physical world, to making better changes, better choices, and making changes in my life. I can see where I was holding myself back. I can see where my counterpart was challenging me to push myself forward. I can see where I needed healthy boundaries. I can see where I needed to honor myself more. I can see where I needed to express myself more, speak up more, or be more in tune with my emotions, or whatever this is, however it resonates. It's both of you are experiencing this journey, and you challenge each other, and you push each other in many ways. And you can have that regret of, I wish we had met now that I've gone through this transformation, now that I'm feeling more at peace, now that I've healed so much and I'm aware of so much more, now that I have this understanding of what this journey is. Because we're in the beginning, we don't know what the hell this journey is. All we know is that we feel this deep connection and this relationship with this person. And now you have a better understanding of this journey. So you can have this deep regret, or you can change your perspective and have gratitude and say, you know what? I can forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know back then. I can be responsible for the part that I played in our connection, the part that I played in our relationship. And I'm sorry. And please forgive me. And thank you for being part of this journey with me. And I love you. And allow yourself to say, now that I'm here, now that I'm at this stage in this new energy, I do have an understanding. I do have a new consciousness. I do have a new awareness. And so I can allow myself now to move forward. I can allow myself to move forward in healthier connection and more conscious connection. I didn't have that consciousness then. I didn't have that awareness then. I didn't have that understanding then. That is what life is about. And so don't negate yourself for what you didn't know when you didn't know it. Life is about the journey of learning and the journey of expansion. Don't criticize yourself or hold yourself back or negate yourself or berate yourself for what you didn't know. You know it now. And so from this point of reference, you can make those conscious changes and make those conscious choices to do different and be different. Make it healthier. And be in more harmony with yourself. That's what your healing journey has brought you. You went through your healing journey to be here at this point. So please, please be so kind and compassionate to that past version of yourself. That's where you release that past version of yourself and you say, thank you. Thank you for getting me to where I needed to be. When I look back at my own life and my own timeline, I can see different stages and different catalysts for my journey. Lyme disease, for example, was a major awakening for me. It taught me how to advocate for myself and advocate for others. It taught me how to express myself, to speak up for myself, to trust my intuition when all the doctors were telling me I was fine and I was dying. It taught me how to trust myself, trust my body, tune into myself. It taught me so much. But then when I was activated to Ascension, it was another level. It was an even level. I always used to say that Lyme disease taught me to be better and bolder and braver and stronger. Ascension was another level of that. It taught me so much more about myself. It was a deeper level of healing. Ascension is a rise in consciousness. You're rising in consciousness and frequency, but you're doing that by going deep within yourself, that inner spiral within yourself. Going deep down within. Your consciousness rises, but it takes doing the deep dives within yourself to really heal patterns and behaviors and beliefs. You're really, really reclaiming yourself by shifting your beliefs that you might have held about yourself, about others, about the world. So when I look back at my own life and my own timelines, and you can certainly do the same for yourself, you can see there were major, you know how you have a timeline and there are like little tiny moments that really matter. The small moments matter, the little moments matter, but you also have big events, like those big ticks on a timeline. This happened in 2017, this happened in 2018, big events on a timeline. You can look back and you can say, oh, that was transformative for me. Well, life is that constant evolution. You're constantly evolving and transforming, and these events, these experiences are part of that transformation. So don't negate your past, and don't criticize that past version of yourself. Love that past version of yourself for what you didn't know and how it carried forth and brought you to this new sense of learning, this new level of yourself. Say, I don't need that past version of myself anymore, but I still love you. You integrate it all aspects of yourself. You don't separate yourself from yourself. You integrate it all. Thank you, and I love you for what you taught me. But I know I'm not that past version anymore. I know I'm a new version. And how does this play out in connection? Well, you're both doing this. You're both becoming new versions of yourself through this transformation, through this ascension journey. And so that's where you face each other. That's where you get to know each other, and you see each other and honor each other in a new light, in a new energy. Not from the pain of the past, but through forgiveness and love. That's what this whole reading, the spread really is. It is the Hermit, the Eight of Wands, and the Two of Cups, that self-discovery energy. This has been your journey. The Hermit has been your journey, going deep within yourself to learn more about yourself, to follow your inner heart, your guiding light within, to learn how to trust yourself, to honor yourself, to love yourself, to follow that inner path, that inner guidance, to learn and expand in higher consciousness. The Hermit is almost like, what I'm getting is the antithesis of the High Priestess. No, not the antithesis, the match to the High Priestess. The High Priestess being that feminine energy of intuition. That's the Hermit energy. But the Hermit is that masculine energy. That's the union of the two. And with the Eight of Wands here, this is that forward momentum. This is that forward motion. This is that next level. And this is where it's all accelerating now, but in that energy of more peace and more harmony, more consciousness. Two of Cups being that reunion energy. And so we have the Tower and we have the Ace of Swords here. What I'm feeling from this is the Tower is that breakthrough. And I'm just seeing, it's almost like the supernova energy. I'm just getting this burst of light within your third eye, within your crown chakra, this new conscious understanding. This new level of awakening, this breakthrough within yourself. And sometimes you need to go through the breakdown. The Tower, we call it Tower moments because it can be a shakeup in your physical world especially. It can be a shakeup in your internal world as far as beliefs, but your external world, your physical life experience reflects the energy that you're holding. And so as your energy is shifting, changing, as you're leveling up, your physical world is going to naturally change, but we as humans, we get so fearful of change because we don't know what's to come. We like certainty. Ego likes certainty. We like to know what's going to happen. But that's where you have to have faith. That's where you anchor into that trust and into that following your intuition and trusting your intuition and trusting the universe, trusting your path to unfold. So the Tower moment is shakeups in our physical world, but those shakeups show us where we need to shift, where we need to allow ourselves to release anything that's holding us back, anything that is old energy especially, anything that's not serving our physical reality anymore, anything that is just not in the same frequency in our physical world that our internal energy, that our soul is trying to guide us towards, anything that isn't in alignment. To put it in a nutshell, anything that isn't in alignment. And so Towers come in to, not to punish you, Towers come in to get us into alignment. It's the universe kind of coming in and knocking loose any foundation that isn't a firm foundation, any foundation that's still in the old version of yourself, anything that isn't serving you. It's the universe coming through and saying, are you sure you want to keep repeating this? Are you sure you want to keep resisting change? Because when you're in resistance to change, you stay in a stagnant energy. You don't grow, you don't expand. And as a soul, you're naturally growing and expanding. You're naturally wanting to grow and expand. When you feel restrictive, when you feel constricted, when you feel stagnant, when you feel like fear, when you feel just stuck, that's resistance. It's the universe trying to bring you change, to get you unstuck, to move you forward, but our ego in that fear resists. And so tower moments come in as events usually to kind of shake us up, to move us forward. And that's what I'm getting with the Ace of Swords here. It's like clarity. It's like seeing clearly. It's like, okay, I can look at myself and I can take responsibility and hold myself accountable and see where these choices or these actions or this belief was still keeping me stuck. From the breakdown comes the breakthrough. I love the tower. I've learned to love the tower. I hated the tower in the beginning of my journey because the tower was like, okay, this energy is changing and this is changing and this is changing and this is changing. You know, your life is changing. The best example is when I was sick, you know, I was very stubborn and very resistant to leaving my corporate job because it was great as far as finances, and I liked the job enough. It was enough. I liked it enough. I was in finance. I liked it enough. It was never what I wanted to do with my life. But I liked it enough. But, you know, I liked the people enough. And then my illness happened, and I kept trying. I was going to work every day, even though I could only work for an hour, even though I was passing out, even though my heart was failing, even though I couldn't read, I couldn't write because my brain was failing. I kept doing it. I kept going because I felt I was stubborn, I was prideful, and I had a belief in me, a guilt in me that kept driving me to put everybody else above myself. And so when I relapsed in 2016, I remember saying, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. And I ended up quitting that job and focusing on my health. And I remember the very first day that I was home and really doing self-love and self-care and healing my body, allowing myself to sleep and rest as my body at that time needed it because it was very, very ill. I remember just this sense of relief, and it was like my soul expanded. And I felt this sense of clarity in my mind. And it was like, this is what I need. This is what my soul needs. I was just in resistance to it. I hadn't surrendered. I was trying to resist that change because I didn't know what was to come. And what was to come was I ended up building a publishing company and publishing my books and writing books. And then I ended up doing this. You know, I never expected to be doing what I'm doing in this spiritual business that I've built, but it led here. And I know that no matter what's to come, I'm being led in my life what's to come. So that was an example for me, but allow it to be an example for you. Life is constant evolution and constant expansion. And we might not know what's to come or where life is leading us in jobs, in finances, in passions and careers and relationships. But that's part of the magic. That's part of the magic. And when you anchor into trust and faith, again, in yourself, knowing that your actions and your choices in alignment with your soul, in creation, co-creation with the universe, because you're working with the universe, you're working with God, it's all aligning. It's all part of your path. And that path is constantly unfolding. So we might have tower moments that shake us out of our revelry, that shake us out of our comfort zones. But trust in God, trust in the universe, trust in your very soul, all part of the same whole. Trust that it knows what it's doing. And it's going to bring in truth. It's going to bring in clarity. You're not going to be walking blindly when you walk in faith. You're never walking blindly when you're walking in faith. When you're walking in alignment with your heart. When you're trusting your heart to lead you. Your heart sees very clearly, but you have to allow for that. Okay. That was amazing. And I hope that it resonated with you. Let me know how that resonated with you. We're going to continue this energy for Sacred Union Energy Update with the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine.